We're Mel and Paul, and after a quick cruise across the UK Midlands, we find ourselves moored up in a marina and getting used to living on board our 57-foot narrowboat. We're sharing our mistakes and slowly getting used to the frozen water around us. We're finding new ways to stay busy during lockdown and each day being grateful for boat life. Subscribe and stay tuned as our story unfolds. So if you can see just outside there, that frozen piece of frosty snowball, it hasn't been snowing, but it's been super frosty and all the water's frozen over, and that has been lying there all day. It is now the afternoon, and yeah, ice, ice, baby. Paul has just come in from a little trot outside and has been telling me all the happenings in the marina today. All the goings on due to the freezing over of the water in the marina. What's all the bits and bobs you've seen today?
I went to the office just to ask them because all the taps on the dock are frozen, so we can't get any water. I received an email that they said some of them are winterized, so I wanted to go and find out which ones were winterized. And they told me it's the one right at the end, but it's too far for our hose pipe to get there. There's like a baby swan that cut its leg and it's like stuck in the ice, so I think they called animal welfare or I don't know, RSPCA we call it in South Africa, but animal welfare.
Child Protective Services.
Yeah, so then they're going to call that and they're going to come and save it. Because it was like iced into the ice and then they broke all the ice around it so it could move, but it's cut its, I don't know what you call it, a flipper or whatever.
Leg,
yeah. So there was another couple that were coming in with like a fiberglass boat, but the husband was like over the front and he was like smashing the ice with a flat shovel as they were driving up the canal in the front, which was quite a sight to see. And she was like saying to him, faster, must I go faster? But he was like battling to keep up, to break the ice. So he was like, it was just in their boat and they ended up stopping.
So it's been a few days since we last actually picked up the camera from the previous bit that you would have seen that we ended on in the last bit of video. And mostly because it has been quite an adjustment getting used to the dropping temperatures. It's always been cold. It's been cold for a month or two now, so it's nothing we're not used to, but it seems to in the last few days have gotten a lot more severe. We had that snow that we showed you, but now, yeah, the freezing over of the water is just very intense and is now creating some problems. One of the guys actually said to Paul, you must be new to narrowboating if you've forgotten to fill your water. And yeah, I guess it was just a silly mistake on our part. And top tip that he said is just you've got to monitor the weather and the changing conditions around you like a week in advance, just so that if you need to move the boat, pump out the loo, if you need to fill up your water, that kind of thing, there is nothing more than both of us really want right now than a warm shower, and that is just something that is out of reach. We've got a little bit of water left, so obviously you can wash dishes and cook, and we've got some bottled water for drinking. So the tap's just there, but we don't have jerry cans or containers or anything, so hopefully the pipes start to thaw. Over the next few days the temperature is rising slightly up to about 7 degrees in 3 days time, I think. So if we can just make it to tomorrow and then we'll see, but otherwise, yeah, we might be just going to purchase a jerry can or two.
So I don't know where this is going to fit in. It's a few days later since the last time I was fiddling with it. So I bought a buck boost converter. So what that does, it's like a DC to DC, but it stabilizes the DC. So if your battery voltage drops, you can set it to keep a constant voltage. So the output voltage doesn't fluctuate with your battery voltage, if that makes sense to some people. So what I was trying to do was to try and make our TV 12 volt. And I poked around with a multimeter in there the best I could, and I found that there's like a 12 volt connection. So I powered it all up, and I could power the board, but then the screen takes 32 volts to come on to power the actual display. So I could power the TV board, but I couldn't turn the screen on. So that didn't work out as planned. So then I I thought, well, we're using an adapter plug from 220 volts for a wireless router that we've got. So I thought, well, let me try poke around with the multimeter and that, just to keep myself busy during lockdown. So we've now just got Hyper Optics. They've come and installed their connection. They came and it's actually a cable that comes off the dock, and then it runs along our roof and into our cupboard. But I didn't want to use their router. I was going to use my own router, because I've got it set up now. It's only using 3 watts of power to power the router, and that's cell phone, so you can get LTE and their fiber optics or hyper optics connection. So when we go out cruising in the canal, we can use the SIM cards and with unlimited data there. The only reason we can't use it in the marina is because everybody's got SIM cards connecting to the same tower, and everybody's either got EE or Smarty, because we got Smarty, and it's just too many people, so it's really slow. So we got this, which is like a loads faster, and it's only all getting powered off of 3 watts, which is quite something. It's hardly anything. So that's up the top of my little man cave. I still got to do some of the wires and stuff, but that's what it's using there. So 12.07 volts at 0.2 amps, that's 2.65 watts, and then our batteries are 13.44 volts, but that's just because we connected to the shore power, and our Stirling inverters charging up the batteries. That's why the battery voltage is 13.44. Ta-da!
That was a lot, and that is why I'm with this guy, because I do not understand any of this stuff, and I call it stuff because it's way over my head. But yeah, all I know is that we're gonna get faster internet, which is amazing. That's on the positive side of today, and if you're still with us after that long speech, let me show you some ice. I've just popped outside so I can show you the frozenness of the water. Pretty glassy out there. Nothing's moving. On one hand, the frozenness of the water can be quite exciting, and you can hear it sometimes when the boat moves, when you walk along the boat and it sort of like moves in the ice and it starts to crack, and all those things can be fun when you're getting used to all the new things of living on a boat, but it's also causing some problems. So we are learning every day. As much as we feel a little bit more confident as more time passes, we're still very fresh, we're still very new, and winter can cause some problems. So we need to just yes, be a little bit more proactive in researching things and looking at the weather and preempting problems that can come up. It's easy to get very comfortable and have it feel like you have all the comforts of home and that it's just like living in a normal house because you've got all the usual conveniences, but it's not really. You've got to be a little bit more on the ball and not too relaxed. So yes, I am now actually starting to shiver, and I'm gonna pop back inside. Back back inside, all warm and cozy, and I've come into the bedroom to give you an update. So we had one or two comments of people asking after our mattress, wanting to find out how we are enjoying it, if it made it onto the boat, and how exactly we got it onto the boat. It was a worry for us before we cut it, thinking how we were going to get it on and off, but we figured that there was an existing mattress on the boat and they got that one on somehow, and we just winged it really. So by the time we had bought it here, we just knew that come hell or high water we were going to get this thing on. Taking the existing one off wasn't too hard because it is a lot more narrow, so not as high as this mattress, and a little bit more easy to bend. The framing of it isn't as rigid as the one that we have now. So just as a reminder, this is the entrance to our boat from the back. That's how big the doors are. They're not very high, and then that portion up there obviously slides back and gives you a lot of room, but yeah, not much. It was definitely a tight squeeze, but we managed to get it on with some clever maneuvering on Paul's part, and yeah, it was just a matter of shoving it around, I guess, and eventually it made it on. It is a little bit difficult, like it's kind of a two-man job now when we want to take the mattress off. Obviously we've got storage under the bed. We have drawers in front, so these drawers along here are where we store a lot of our clothing. And then in the back corner, we've got a little bit of an area next to the pump out holding tank, where we store like the vacuum cleaner and some other bits and bobs. A little bit of an issue getting the mattress on and off, but it's not stuff in the storage area that we use all that often, so a minor little thing to get over. The other thing is obviously that the mattress is a lot higher. This little portion here used to be a lot wider, so it actually made the bed feel a little bit bigger because you could sort of slide your hips underneath there and creates a little bit more space. But now that it's a bit higher, it's kind of like a tight squeeze, so it's not really like you can really get underneath there, but again, not too much of an issue. We have little bit of a gap here at the end, which is also not a major issue. The other mattress was just longer to fit this base, and this one is shorter, but that doesn't really bother us. And then also you can see here it is quite a tight squeeze, but it does fit, and that's all that counts. The other thing with the height is the issue of hitting these guys when we're sitting up in bed. So if you're sitting up in bed and then you want to relax down on the pillow, it's quite common to bump your head on that. But again, I think if you live on a boat or you've been on boats, you understand that you're likely to bump your head on a lot of things. Bump into things, trip over things. It's a small space. Get over it and get used to it. While I've got you here, I also just want to ask for a little bit of a tip or advice, or I'm just interested to know what other narrowboaters do in terms of bedding. So excuse our linen, it's just general old stuff that we haven't replaced for a very long time. And inside here I've got a feather duvet. The size of the pillows on a double bed like this are a little bit large, so they end up sliding off sometimes. And also the duvet is just huge. So this is like, I think, a queen size, and it just falls over the side of the bed. The mattress being so tight, we don't really like shove the bedding down the back, and also because we've got the little protective layer so that we don't get any mold or condensation on the bed that wraps up the side as well. We don't want to shove any bedding down there. So it kind of just like rests on top. The bed basically looks like a mess all the time, and it's not a biggie, but sometimes you do just want to like make the bed nicely. And I was wondering what other narrowboaters use. So I do know that other boaters watch this channel, and we've been getting a lot of really great like hot tips from people about an array of things, and honestly keep them coming. Like, we really love it. So I'm gonna ask for one here about bedding, which is a silly little one, but I'm just interested. We don't need to replace anything really. I mean, it's keeping us warm, it's doing its job. But yeah, I just wanted to know for interest's sake, like, should I look at making something in the future? Or is there a specific place that you get it, or a specific size that you're buying? Are you using comforters instead of duvets and covers? I'm interested, so please drop a comment below if you have something that would help us out.
Look who's lying in her spot where she's been sitting all day doing nothing.
Ah,
Lounged out.
the one time you find me here. I'm never on this couch. You are just taking the opportunity because you see me here.
No, I've got you here. I've been working hard on that thing. See the chopping boards out there? Working hard to make us dinner.
Everybody, Paul is lying. Lying through his tea.
I got you.
By the way, I'm busy replying to all your YouTube comments, so thank you so much for all of them.
Just chilling all day.
I'm doing the hard work.
Yeah, she actually just turned the TV off. So get her fully.
We have water.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let's fill her up. Time to get out of bed.
No.
We can shower.
Oh, darn it.
So there's water, but now Paul's walking along and we can hear water running out of a few of the pipes, and it looks like maybe some of the pipes have burst. So we're just gonna go ahead and fill in our emergency, and because we feel like they're definitely probably gonna turn these off. So now that the water seems to have thawed in the pipes outside, we hurried to put our pipe in, but now we realized that our hose pipe was frozen. So the water that was obviously just left in our hose pipe froze up, and so between Paul and I, we've just been crunching it and trying to move it around and get it warmed up so that the water comes through. And we've got water flow, but it is slow, so gonna be here for a while, but just looking forward to that shower and having the relief of having water again. And lesson learned, look at the weather and always stay prepared for anything that's going to come. We'd also thought maybe we'll just get like an extra long cheap hose pipe, because there are other water points in the marina that we could have filled up with that aren't frozen over and that are for winter use, but our hose pipe just obviously wouldn't have reached them. So there was always a plan to be made, but first prize is not having to spend any money on a hose pipe or a jerry can, and walking water over in bottles and being able to fill it up. So we'll sit here and we'll watch the trickle. So first on the agenda of tasks to do today is we really need to stop the draft that comes in from these back doors. We do have our our pram cover outside, but if you've been following, you would have seen also a video where we put it back up for the first time after taking it down to clean it, and it seemed to have shrunk. So there are some gaps in it and it doesn't fit exactly sort of like tightly as it should, and I'm sure if it did, that would also stop the draft and be a big help. But we are definitely finding that no matter how much heat we can create on that side of the boat with the fire and having the fan blowing the heat, etc., even if we have the radiators on and the heating on, it sort of dissipates very, very quickly because we have a lot of cold air coming in from here. So it's rather dark here, but I'll try and show you. This is the sliding door that opens to give like a wider entrance. So it's a little bit dark, but essentially this area here is where we are having an issue, where we want to cover up. So the plan is to take a piece of fabric and I'm going to use that with some Velcro and essentially make a very easy, I hope, rectangle strip with some Velcro around the edges that will Velcro onto here and sort of in an L shape go along the roof and down here. We'll leave it to hang loose on the bottom so that the vents can still create some circulation. But yes, hopefully that will keep some of the warmth in and stop it from escaping. And we'll be a little bit toastier in our bedroom. Here is the fabric that is going to be used. Yeah, it should be quite durable and last quite a nice long time. It's sort of like a weatherproof thing, not that it needs to be because it's going to be inside, but yeah, should do the trick. Some Velcro. Gonna make use of the trusty sewing machine. And yeah, let's get to work.
All my hard work.
We've just come back from doing our pump out, our sort of monthly chore. The only hack about having a pram cover at the back is when we cruise. Ours is not the clearest, I'll show you in a bit, and so we have to take this whole thing down and then put it up again, and as you know if you watch our previous episodes, it doesn't fit so well, so every time we're putting it back up we're struggling a bit. You can see Paul there.
Looks like I'm underwater.
Just trying to get the whole thing to fit again. It's always really a tight squeeze, and also because everything's in lockdown we still have storage bins on the back and it's winter, so we have this mound of coal. So just all the little things that you have to think about when you're going to move the boat is moving all the bits off and back on, but hopefully we'll be able to take our boxes to Paul's brother soon with the stuff that we're going to store with him, and in the future we'll definitely be getting a new pram cover. I think definitely one with a front that rolls up so you can see. Ours is like this. It's like a little bit murky there. It's not, we've tried to clean it and stuff, but it's old. And it was left in quite a sad condition. So if we could get something that actually rolls up on the front, then in the winters when we need to just move the boat quickly to do the loo or anything, we can just roll that little section up. Because obviously here in the marina we know there's no trees around, we're not going to bump into anything, and then we can actually just leave it up, which will save us all this trouble.
Nice day today though.
So
Sun
good.
is shining. Okay.
It's so nice even here just sitting when the covers are up, so we keep these roll up covers up when we're moving, just in case if you're going to hit something or bump into another boat, then it's easy just to move around and get to the other side so you can push off or whatever. And obviously today is like such a nice day and it feels warmer than it has been, and I just actually came to close these so we can start keeping the heat in again from the fire as night falls. But yeah, makes me miss summer, and like I can't wait. Obviously the weather in the UK is like super unpredictable, so who knows when we'll get a day like this again, and I think from tomorrow the temp starts to drop again. So but yeah, if it was like this all through winter, I'd be out here sipping my tea, having a good time, enjoying the bird life and the ducks and the water, and this is what you really want, is like to be enjoying the boat. So even for a moment, just to have this little time, and the excuse for the pump out got us out today, enjoying the sun and getting some vitamin D. And yeah, it just reminds me that this is kind of what you do this for, is to be outside and to be watching the water. So still chilly, but a nice little reminder of exciting things to come when lockdown lifts and the weather turns. So some of you had asked in the comments about Paul's endoscope camera that he bought to check for water lying under the floorboards or to use for leaks or anything like that. And so here it is. It is this Depths Tech, I think that's how you say it, that brand. We bought it on Amazon. Comes in this handy little carry bag. And yeah, he's found it super handy, and obviously it is a nice peace of mind to know that you can get more visibility. We've used it for leaks under the floorboards. He has plans to actually make some more holes and use it a little bit more extensively, so that'll be coming up in some future videos, I'm sure. And we've used it for the loo. If we hear a funny sound, we've used it before, put it down there because it's waterproof, so it's really, really cool. So we're happy with it, so happy to pass on that link to you. It'll be in the description box. And that brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. We are constantly in a state of surprise at how many people are coming along with us, so it's still early days, but we are absolutely loving this, so thank you for being here. If you're new here, please subscribe. It's free and it's the best way to support our channel. We love creating this content. It is just such a joy to make these little home videos. And like this video, if you are enjoying our content, the likes go a long way in helping our content and videos get out there so that others can enjoy it. So yes, we really just want to grow the channel, and those of you that are continuing to comment and come along with us, it is just the best, and we really love having you, so thank you so much. In the next video, I will give you an update on the back cover, and we've got some unfortunate boat maintenance that needs to be done, so more on that in the next one. Tune in, and yeah, we'll see you next Monday.